We are here on a Sunday afternoon at our local trail, and we are having a husband-wife little cruisey, what do you call it?
Shakeout.
A cruisey shakeout walk. So we're going to walk up, and then Troy is actually very, very good at downhill running. So he's going to teach me a little bit of downhill technique, but he hates going up.
How to take your foot off the brakes.
Yeah. So, come with us. In 39:53, probably around 180 to 200 meters vert gained. We just did a nice cruisy-ish sort of walk up and then really powered on the down. Troy was way faster than me on the down, but good little shakeout. We're gonna go pick up some steak for dinner and call it a day. Good morning and welcome to Sunday. We're just gonna go through a little bit about me today. I just wanna tell you guys my story, give you guys a little bit of a background on me, but here goes. When I was 5 years old, that's when I picked up my first tennis racket. Tennis was my family sport. It was my sport growing up. And really, not to toot my own horn, but I was relatively good at it. So I played tennis from when I was 5 to about 16, 17. When I was in grade 12, so I was 16 years old, I did get offered a scholarship to go to America to play college tennis. However, back then, scholarships being offered to Australians was a relatively new thing. There wasn't a lot that we knew about it. So my parents were a little bit iffy about it, and we ended up declining the scholarship, which in hindsight, looking back, there are times where I think I wish I had have gone, but then at the same time, I always think everything happens for a reason. And if I had have gone and done college tennis, I wouldn't have the life that I have now. I wouldn't be doing what I do now. And I also wouldn't change the now for anything. So in a small way, I regret not being able to go, but in a big way, I don't regret not being able to go. So when I finished high school and when I finished playing tennis, I did do my hairdressing apprenticeship. So I did actually start my hairdressing apprenticeship when I was in grade 11. So I did the first year over grade 11 and 12. And then when I finished grade 12, I went into my second year and then my third year. I then worked 1 year as a fully qualified hairdresser after finishing my apprenticeship. But I did quickly realize that hairdressing was not my passion. It was not something that I enjoyed. So after I gave a year back to the salon that I did my apprenticeship with, I then decided that I wanted to take the fitness route. So because I had always been fitnessy, obviously with tennis and everything, it seemed like a more me sort of route to take. So I did my certificate 3 and 4 in personal training. I then also went on to get qualified in boxing fitness just as a side. I worked for a little bit with one of the local PTs, learned a lot working through them. At the same time, I obviously had to have a second job, so I was working at Lorna Jane, just part-time. And I ended up getting offered a position down at Lorna Jane HQ in Brisbane, in the events team. So traveling around Australia, helping run the big warehouse sales. And that was pretty much an opportunity that I couldn't turn down. So in December 2015, I packed up from Cairns. I moved to Brisbane. I pretty much had no friends in Brisbane. I had family in Brisbane, so I was so fortunate enough to move down to Brisbane and move in with my Auntie Sue and my Uncle Gary, and they were godsends. Like they helped me get through that first year so much, and even now I still think back to that time when I was living with them, and it was just the best. You know, we did family Sunday night dinners and games nights, and it was great. It was what I needed, being away from my hometown. So when I moved down to Brisbane, I joined a CrossFit gym because I had just started sort of getting into CrossFit before I left. So I joined a CrossFit gym where I made probably my bestest friend for life. My good old, my warm-hearted sunshine Kirk. So I met Kirk and I met some others through that gym as well. Did CrossFit for a few years. Met my ex when I was down there. But after a while, I just sort of realized that I missed Cairns. I missed home. I missed being with my family. Family is everything to me. And I wanted to come home. So in 2018, I left Brisbane. I moved back home with my ex at the time. And by that point, I was very into CrossFit and into fitness. So we moved back and I opened up my own gym, Brave Strength and Conditioning. Running a gym is hard work, especially when you are pretty much doing it on your own, because that's what I was doing. I was running this gym on my own. So it was a CrossFit based gym. We also did HIIT. We also did boxing fitness as well. My dad is a boxing trainer, so he ran some of the boxing fitness classes. And it was a very satisfying time in my life, but it didn't fulfill my soul like I thought that it would. So I had the gym for we opened the gym in the start of 2019. We moved back towards the end of 2018. So we opened the gym in 2019, and then we closed the gym, or I closed the gym at the start of 2022. In that time, I had been CrossFitting, and in the time of moving back from Brisbane, so 2018, 2019, when we did get back to Cairns, I did put on a lot of weight. I think it was just being in the comfort of a relationship that wasn't really fulfilling to the soul, didn't really push me or challenge me or encourage me to be better. So my health did decline. And then at the start of 2021, I just decided that that was not who I wanted to be anymore. I just didn't want to be that person anymore. So my relationship ended. I started taking my health and fitness very seriously. That's when I joined up with my current coach, Rob, from Raw Strength and Conditioning. Instagram shout out Big Bad Bobby D. You can go follow him. And my life changed. So at the start of 2020, probably in the middle of about 2020, I was weighing close to 100 kilos. So the start of 2021, I was still probably around 100 kilos at the start of 2021. That's when I made the decision to change my life. And then basically over that year, I dropped about 30 kilos. So I got down to about 70 kilos in that year. It was then at the start of 2022 when I made the decision to close my gym, and I decided I wanted to do a 70.3 Ironman. This was a pretty big thing because I had made it very clear that I was not a runner. I hated running. I could not run 5 kilometers. A 800-meter run in a CrossFit workout was like, oh my God, this is so hard. But I set myself a new challenge. I called Rob and I said, hey, this year we're going to do the Cairns 70.3 in June. And his response was, you don't run. And I said, no, I don't, but we're going to learn. And we're also going to learn how to ride a bike. Thankfully, I had been doing a little bit of swimming. So swimming wasn't too much of an issue for me, but we learned how to become an Ironman. So I did the 70.3 Ironman in June of 2022. And then basically from there, things just rolled on, and I realized how much I really liked that sport. More in general running. I wouldn't say I loved the bike riding or the swimming. It was just something more I had to do to get it done. But I found out I actually liked running. And so from there, I did my first full marathon 2 weeks later at the Cairns marathon. And then I did the Sydney Marathon about 8 weeks after that. Rolling into 2023, I then took on my first full Ironman. So in February 2023 is when I met my current husband, Troy. I was not looking for a partner. I was very set on, I'm doing an Ironman. I'm going to become an Ironman. This is all that matters to me. And one day he just rolled around, and they say the rest is history. And I don't think I've been so lucky to have met someone like him who is just so supportive. Anything I want to do, he just supports. If I go out for, a 7-hour session on a Sunday, he just supports that. So I thank the Lord that he was brought into my life at that time, even though I didn't think that I needed it. I love him. So anyway, that's that. I did my did my full Ironman in June. Mind you, I got influenza A 3 days before my full Ironman, and I think any normal person would have pulled the pin because I was so sick. I'd never had influenza A before, and if you have had influenza A, you know what it feels like, let alone to then toe the line on a full Ironman course. It was not fun. But however, I had put in so much training that there was absolutely no way I was going to not complete that race. So I did my full Ironman. A couple of months later, I did my first ever pyramid race, which that sort of turned the tables into trail running. In December 2023, I then completed my first ever ultra marathon, the UTK, so Ultra Trail Kosciuszko, 100 kilometers. Now, I completed that in 22 hours, give or take a little bit, a couple of minutes, but round figures, 22 hours. And I think I said a million times through that race, I am never doing this again. But let's just make it clear, I did do it again. So 2024 rolls around. I went back to the half Ironman in Cairns in June, and my husband Troy actually trained up and did his first ever triathlon, but he did the half Ironman in June as well, which was really, really special to be able to spend that time training together and then participating and completing that event with him. He did absolutely amazing. And then that was actually a very, very special day because he proposed at the finish line of the Cairns 70.3 Ironman. So that was really lovely. I basically just trained up and I decided that I wanted to do a miler. So I did sign up for Unreasonable East 100 miler, which was in August that year. Unfortunately, I did get very, very sick. I ended up in hospital about 10 days before that race. So I was unable to complete that race. But just because I couldn't do that race didn't mean that I was done for the year. I went back to Kosciuszko. I did the 100 miler at Kosciuszko. Again, was not a good race. I actually DNF'd that race. Looking back on that race, I didn't need to DNF. I physically was fine. I mean, I was hurting a lot more at a point where I didn't think I should have been hurting as much as I did. But I think I lost it up here. And if you don't have it up here in a race, it doesn't matter how fit you are, you're not going to get to the end. The weather was awful. It was raining. It was cold. I did end up in the medic tent for about 2 hours with hypothermia. And there was just a few factors that just played a role in this race that didn't all stack up like they should come race day. And unfortunately, I DNF'd at the 100 kilometer mark, or I bet it was like 95 kilometers. But instead of taking that as a negative, all I did was take it as a learning curve and look at what I need to do next time to tick this goal off the list. So we decided that in May 2025, current year, I was going to go do the Ultra Trail Australia 100 miler in the Blue Mountains. This was the first year that the UTA was having 100 miler, so it kind of made it a little bit extra special and a little bit more exciting to be involved in that first ever 100 miler event. I got married in February, which was really, really beautiful. Insert wedding clip here. Went on a month's holiday around Japan. We went skiing, sightseeing, Disney, all of that sort of stuff, which was amazing. And I think it was just what I needed to just take a month off and completely and utterly relax. We did not train. We did not worry about food. We ate what we wanted to eat. We did what we wanted to do. And I came back feeling so mentally and physically refreshed. I mean, I had a lot of work to do, obviously, after a month off, but it was so good. UTA 100 comes around, UTA 100 miler, comes around, and I crushed it. I felt so good. I was such a different person to the person that I was when I did the Kosciuszko 100 miler. So UTA, there's obviously things looking at a race that I could better. There's always things you can do better, but my whole and sole goal for that race was to finish. I finished with a smile. I didn't cry during the race at all. I have a tendency to start to cry when I get into a lot of pain. I didn't even really end up with any blisters. I mean, apart from a couple of little blisters on my toes, everything just aligned for me for that race, and I really felt like I was meant to finish that race. So that so far has been my 2025. I then was lucky enough to get into the CCC at UTMB, which is in 3 weeks. So I will be going back and running the 100 kilometer at Mont Blanc in a few weeks, which is super, super exciting. But yeah, that's basically my timeline and my story of from where I started to how I got into ultra running. The thing that I like about ultra running is you can always improve. There's always something to get better at. There's always a new trail to go and hit. There's always new people to meet, and the ultra running community is amazing. I've never met so many supportive people that just want to see every single person that they're running with finish. I met, when I was at UTA, I met so many incredible people on the course, and I wish at the time I had have got their bib number or their name and popped it down in my phone, because I finish the race and I'm like, I wonder if this person finished, or I wonder if this person finished. And it is just, it's a magical community to be a part of, and I'm so thankful that my life has taken the course that it has to lead me to find my passion, which is ultra running. I thank my coach. My coach has just been nothing but supportive, and I mean, I tell you what, there are times where he is strict, stern, tough, says it like it is, and sometimes you don't always like to hear it at the time, but I know that, he has my best interest at heart, and he's done nothing but support me, and basically he's got me to every single goal that I've set out to achieve, and he believes so much in me. So biggest thank you ever to Rob. I wouldn't be here without you. And yeah, it just goes to show that you can do anything you want. I was 100 kilos, eating Hungry Jacks for dinner almost every night in a sour, toxic relationship. And all you have to do is tell yourself, or you have to make the decision that that is not what you want anymore, and change. You always have a choice. Choose to be better. I chose to be better. I lost a bunch of weight. I currently sit around 62 kilos. I went from not being able to run 5 kilometers to having run 100 miles, completing Ironmans. You can do anything you want. You have to want to. And it's not about having motivation to do it. It's about having discipline. It's having the discipline to do the hard things, even when you might not want to. Because it's those days where you go out and you do the hard thing when you don't want to are the days that make a difference, physically and mentally. So just next time you're like, I don't know if I can do that. It might be a little bit hard. Give yourself the chance to try, because that's all it takes. All you've got to do is try. But yeah, thank you for listening to my story. I hope that wasn't a too long-winded, chatty little story. But I just felt it was important to let you guys know a little bit about me and how I got here. So happy Sunday. I hope you have enjoyed this vlog, and yeah, please, it would really, really help me out if you watch this vlog to click the like button, click the subscribe button, and leave a comment, because it would really help me out. And it actually means a lot to me when I see that someone has gone to the effort to interact with my little video. So happy Sunday, and we will see you next time.